To all you DIYers out there, this video is for you. We're in lockdown, there's nothing to do apart from getting nagged by the other half to do jobs around the house. One of those jobs might be fitting one of these, a shelf, and today I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. So today what we're going to do is we're going to be installing one of these. This is a IKEA floating shelf. Obviously there are other manufacturers of shelving. You may make your own or you may buy it from somewhere else, but in this instance we're going to be hanging one of these. They're really straightforward to do. It's just a case of leveling this up. This is your bracket. You put that on the wall, get that fixed up, and then it literally slots straight into the back of the shelf, and then there's a few grub screws at the bottom, and that's it. It's nice and easy. But like we said, not everybody has that knowledge, so we're just going to show you exactly how to do it. What you're going to need as a pretty basic thing is a combi drill, a spirit level, a screwdriver, some masking tape, a tape measure, and a pencil as well. So behind this wall is plywood. So all I'm going to do is make my holes and I'm going to screw straight into it. If in most cases you've got a brick wall with plaster behind it, or you've got just plasterboard wall, you may need to look at other fixings. So you may need a hammer drill with some plugs, some raw plugs, or you may need some plasterboard fixings. But in this instance, I'm going to be screwing straight into this. I'm going to just show you a quick little tip about this. Many people have got spirit levels knocking around their house, but over time, if they get bashed around, the vials can become a little bit less accurate. So one little trick, it's quite easy to do, just to make sure that your spirit level is actually level. So make sure that your bubble is exactly between the lines, so that way you know this is reading level. Then get yourself a pencil and draw a line. Then all you're going to do is flip your level round and just get this leveled up again with the line, and make sure that you're on it all the way across, and providing that your bubble is exactly in the middle of the lines again, you know that this level is level. So we're good to go with that. If it runs out slightly, it's not level, so please don't use it to hang your shelf, otherwise you're going to end up with a wonky one. So you've got all your tools, you've checked that your level is level. Next up, what we're going to do is mark out the wall to see exactly where our shelf is going to go. So grab your shelf and your significant other, because obviously they're going to be telling you where it's going to go, and literally offer it up to the wall. Get some masking tape and mark either side of the shelf. So you can either do that by holding the shelf up and get somebody else to stick the tape at the end of the shelves, or you can put your shelf down on the floor and measure it. So this one is 1100 wide, okay? So our tape is, you guessed it, spaced 1100 wide. So that gives us then the full length of the shelf. What you want to do then is just measure down to wherever you wanted it to be, or again, if you're holding it up, you can just put a pencil mark at the end. If you're on your own, you can just measure and put a little mark on your masking tape. So I know here that this is the center point of our shelf, height-wise, level-wise, okay? Next up, what we're going to do is get the bracket. I've measured the bracket, and the bracket is 620. And I've measured this, and that's 1100. So what I've done is, this is 1100, so half of that is 550. So I've made my mark there, and what you can see, like Blue Peter, I've pre-drilled a hole as well. So this hole corresponds to this hole, okay? So that is the center of the bracket, and it is also the top hole. The reason I'm doing one in the center is because I'm gonna fix this now, just ever so slightly to the wall, not fully in, but I'm just going to fix it there so it holds it in place. And then we're going to get our level across these two prongs or across the back. Probably best to check both because these might be slightly out. Once I've done that, I can then put a pencil mark across and I can carry on fixing the rest of my holes in. Using your drill or a screwdriver, screw on the end. One thing worth noting with these shelves and with many of the floating shelves, they do have a grub screw in the bottom, okay? So when you put the bracket on the wall, you slide your shelf on, there's a small hole in the bottom of the shelf, just there and there. When your shelf slides onto your bracket, you then put some screws through the bottom of here, and then that prevents the shelf from coming away from the bracket. So when you're going to fix your bracket onto the wall, make sure that the holes in this bracket are actually facing down, because if you put them on the wrong way around, your shelf's going to be upside down, and then you're going to see the screw holes. Not that I've ever put it on upside down before, obviously. So before we fix this on, take your masking tape off. You've already got your hole, you know it's in the center, you know it's where you want to be for your bracket. Just carefully peel this off, and your hole is there still. Again, checking your brackets the right way around and screw it in. Okay, just pinch tight. You don't want to go over the top with it because you need a little bit of movement just to make sure it's level. Grab your level and put it on top, and then you're going to just make sure that the bubble is exactly between the two lines. Behind this plasterboard is plywood, so I can literally just screw straight through into it, and I know I've got a solid fixing. If you've got a plasterboard wall or a brick wall, you will have to drill some holes now, take this off, and then use whatever fixings you need to behind this, and then again, repeat that, put it back on, and then screw it through. But in this instance, luckily enough, we've got plywood behind it. So I'm just going to centralise this on the screw, because these holes are actually elongated so they can move left to right. So I'm just going to make sure that it's in the middle. The bracket's on, I've loosely fitted this screw, it's just pinch tight, so it just holds it in place. Then we're going to get our level and we're going to hold it onto the back of the plate, because this is going to be our governing point. We're going to level that up nicely so the bubble is exactly between the lines. Now we're level, we're going to make some more holes. So you want to be going in the centre of the hole, because if you go towards the top, what it's going to do when you put the screw in, it's going to lift. So you make sure you're in the centre of the hole here and screw through. And then we're going to do one here as well, again in the centre, and drill through just like that. Then grab a couple of screws, get your level again, hold that on top just to make sure that you're good, and there we go. Oh, I'm perfectly happy with that, that is nice and level. So all you need to do now is carry on, get some more screws in these holes, and then we'll get the shelf on.
What kind of literature do you like to read, John?
What kind of literature? I like to read a lot of self-improvement books. I read a lot of books about fitness and exercise, a lot of books about positive thinking. That's why I always smile, on the inside at least. So, we've got some of the screws in. There are a lot of holes in this. You don't need to put holes in all of them. Yeah, you just need to make sure you've got a nice solid fix in. That's nice and sturdy, okay? They just put these additional holes in, just in case if you are fixing into a masonry wall, you end up in a perp joint or a bed joint and it just goes straight through. It just gives you lots of different fixing options, okay? So I have actually got 8 screws in here. That is more than enough for a bookshelf. It's not gonna go anywhere. So now we've done that, all that's left to do is remove our last bits of tape. So with the shelf the right way up, you remember the holes, yeah, they face down. All you need to do is now find these holes, marry those up to these poles, and then we're good to go. So we're just going to find this here, and then simply push back against the wall, and voila, the shelf is in. With these particular shelves, these are the only screws they provide, which are the screws to go into the bottom of the shelf. I'm assuming the reason they don't supply more screws is because there are so many different substrates that you can fix the shelf to. If they provide you with something and it does fail, it's not on their head if they've only provided you with these screws. So what I would recommend is using the screwdriver for this bit. Find the hole, screw in the hole, and you're away. And all this does is stops the shelf from coming away from the bracket. Don't over tighten it, pinch tight, and you're good to go. And that's it. If you would like to get one of your books featured on this shelf, we're actually going to collect some books from our viewers. This is our podcast room, and we're going to be doing special features on old books. So if you've got any construction books that would like to go on here, send in your book to the address below and we will send you some goodies and give you a shout out in one of our podcasts. So the shelf is on the wall. All that's left to do now is the final test. But we know it's going to be level because we've done it properly. Voila, there we go. So you're in lockdown, you've now had a hard day at work, you've earned that cup of tea, so just sit down and put your feet up. All that's left for us to do now is to get some books on this shelf. There you go, easy as that. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please like, comment and subscribe. You've been watching me, John from Build with A&E. Until next time, stay safe.